What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So, I actually want to have a conversation with y'all, man. I don't know if y'all been seeing some of these posts on X talking about Logan Paul's recent alliance with Paul Heyman and the Bronze being a part of the Vision or being a potential new member of the Vision group. Now, here's the thing about this. I like the idea and concept because it makes sense. Some of the posts I've been seeing is like, Logan Paul fits better being in the Vision group than Seth Rollins did. And I can see why some people would say that, because essentially the Vision is supposed to be a group of individuals that are supposed to be the future of WWE. We know Seth is essentially not the future of WWE, but he's supposed to be leading the future of WWE. And with a group like that, you always want to have that one wrestler that's essentially the veteran. And Seth would be the veteran to the Braun Breakers and the Bronson Reeds and even Logan Pauls of the world. And then you have Paul Heyman, the Oracle, the individual that knows all the ins and outs of being a top guy in the industry, because he's been advocates and wise men for other top guys in the industry. So I can see why someone would be like, well, maybe Logan Paul being in this is a better fit, and him being a part of the group would be a better fit. And me personally, I'm not knocking the idea. I know people just love to dogpile on Seth Rollins, so I've been seeing those posts of he's a better fit than Seth Rollins ever was. I don't know about that personally, but I'm not opposed to Logan Paul actually being a part of this group, considering he is someone that would fit the group's motif. He would fit the group's identity of some young guys trying to make a name for themselves and being the promise for the future of WWE. Now, the negative sides to this happening is simply Logan Paul's commitment, because he would have to essentially be there on a semi to regular basis if you're supposed to try to build him up as the real future for WWE. And it also, it's like, yes, he's very talented. We know he's very talented in the ring, and he can go in the ring, but he's not there enough. That was one of the reasons why his United States Championship run was forgettable, because he was barely there. I know he has other obligations, so he would have to really be committed to the grind, essentially. The road schedule, the events he would have to appear on, he would have to be committed. And I don't know if that's something he could do right now. He's just in a situation where he's so good, he doesn't have to be committed, and he goes in there, do whatever story they need him to do for a couple weeks, and then he's gone. So if he was to be involved, he would have to be there more, because if he's only there every now and then what's the fucking point? Now, you could create a storyline with that, with, say, for example, Logan Paul gets these championship opportunities in these situations, and of course Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker would feel some type of way because they're there every week, and Logan Paul gets these opportunities because he's a part of the group now. Before them, even though they're there every week, you could bring that into the story front, but then it'll be, what was the point of adding him to the group? We know if they were to actually do that, Braun Breaker would definitely have issues with that going forward, and we'd be right back at square one, where Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed would pack up Logan Paul and kick him out. So we would essentially be there at square one once again, what they did with Seth Rollins. Obviously, Seth Rollins had to get kicked out because of the injury, so that would be pointless. But I do think if they don't have him be a part of it in a long-term capacity, they may be setting up something for Survivor Series War Games, and he has a temporary alliance with the Vision. And I think that may be the route, because once again, he's not a full-time wrestler. So even though it would make sense if Logan Paul was a part of the group from a story standpoint, it would make a lot of sense. He can let Paul Heyman kind of hype him up even more than he already is, and then eventually later down the line, you can create the jealousy angle between Braun Breaker and Logan Paul at some point, so that could work. But since he not really gonna be there as much, it does seem like this is a temporary alliance. We don't know where it goes from there, but it does seem as if this is a temporary alliance to maybe set up something at Survivor Series for War Games. Maybe they do end up having a War Games match. Who knows? But I think that may be the route that they go. So, me personally, I would like the idea for him to be a part of the group in a long-term capacity. I think this would be a really good replacement for Seth. And he's a very unlikable person. This is someone that you can boo, because at the end of the day, the group is still a heel faction. It's just they have, Braun Breaker as one of the breakout stars that people just love to see him just wreak havoc, because he's pretty fantastic. So he's all intensity. So I get that. But having a Logan Paul there would bring a lot of good heat, because people just don't like Logan Paul. We can respect the fact that he's great in the ring, but we just don't like him as a person, and that works. So to give them real heel heat would be perfect. But once again, me personally, I don't think it has some long-term stability because of Logan Paul's schedule. If his schedule was different, if he was actually there more in a full-time capacity, I think this would be a great move to actually have him join the Vision. It would make sense, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it's just one of those type of things where it's like, I see where people were talking about. I see the ideas that people were trying to create, the narratives that they're trying to create. He fits better with the group than Seth Rollins did. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to those individuals being on these shows every week to keep these stories going. Because it makes no sense for him to be there leading up to Survivor Series, at Survivor Series, and then he disappears for the next couple months. We don't see him until right around Royal Rumble time. It would be pointless, because then it's like, is he really in the group? Does that really make any sense? So comment down below. Let me know. Would you guys be okay if Logan Paul actually joined the Vision and actually was a part of their group and was actually considered, someone that's a part of the faction that can help them get wins and whatever the case may be? Or do y'all feel like this is going to be like a temporary thing? You don't feel like he's going to be involved with them for too long? Or do y'all feel like y'all don't want him to be a part of the group, and y'all feel like the group is good with just Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman? Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it down below. But I appreciate all love, support. Road to 100, I always say 150K. I'm so used to it. Road to 200K, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.